Come closer. The hollow has something for you tonight. The wind has hushed. Even the trees are listening now. You step gently through the veil of dusk, where color fades and sound softens, and the earth exhales its deepest breath. Just ahead, something shimmers, not bright, not loud, just waiting, wrapped in mist, wrapped in stillness, wrapped in the hush of a tale that remembers your name, though you've not heard it spoken in years. If your breath slows and the dark feels safe, follow my voice and subscribe. If you want to hear what the shadows will tell, next time don't leave. A trace before you vanish, a comment with your time, and the quiet place you listen from. Now dim the lights, perhaps light a candle, and drift with me into the story. The hollow greets you softly tonight. You've walked a long way, though the soles of your feet are still dry. The trees thicken slowly, growing taller, then thinner, until they lean toward each other like secret keepers, arching into a canopy of fog-lit silence. Each breath you take tastes of cool water and ancient bark you don't remember choosing. This path, only noticing it. A trail not marked by footsteps, but by absence, as though everything else simply moved aside to let it form. You pass through low reeds. They part like hands. The air changes, thicker now. Damp dot, and then you see it. A stone basin, sunk into the earth. Perfectly round. Covered in moss, except the rim which glows faintly. Like it remembers the sun, but prefers the moon. Inside, the water does not ripple. It breathes. A slow inhale, a slower exhale, as if the hollow itself were dreaming, and this pool was its eye, half-lidded, and watching Dot, and within the center, a candle, small, ivory, its flame dances. Calm and steady, though it rests entirely. Beneath the water's skin no smoke, no flicker, only glow. You kneel beside it, drawn without question. The flame doesn't waver as you draw near. Instead, you feel it, not heat, but memory, like something you once knew, but forgot just before waking. A moth flutters past, not toward the light, but toward you. Dot, it lands on your wrist, and rests there. You do not move. Beneath the candle, you notice the faint trace of something carved into the stone bed of the basin, a circle within a circle, interrupted by a single sharp notch. Like a keyhole or a wound, the flame sways, once as if noticing your gaze, then settles. Your fingers ache to reach in, but you don't, not yet. Instead, you listen. The trees creak, the water breathes, and behind you, barely heard, a footstep. Dot, just one dot, no more. You turn, slowly. No one stands there, but the reeds bear a wet imprint, a shape moving away toward the thinnest part of the woods, where the fog folds back in, and the air smells of cedar and wax. You rise, without thought. Follow Dot, and as you step from the edge of the basin, the flame does not fade. Dot, it remains, burning gently beneath the surface, just as it always has, just as it always will. The path narrows. Your shoulders brush branches on both sides. Each leaf drips something that isn't quite water, thicker, silken, scentless. Above you, the canopy filters the dim light into gray-green hush. Beneath your feet, the earth turns, soft, almost springy, like moss or breath. The footsteps you follow left no sound, only signs, a shift in mist, a hush that deepens with each turn. You don't speak. You've forgotten how. Or maybe you simply remember that silence is the proper language here. The tree's thin, and the path widens just enough to reveal it. A great cedar, twisted, hollowed, open like a throat. Its bark glistens with a sheen of candle wax, as though someone had poured rivers of light down its sides and let them cool in long, glimmering streams. A scent lingers, faint honey, burned thyme, and something older, like pages left out. In moonlight you step forward. The wind stills. Inside the tree, darkness. But not empty not cold the air hums, soft and low, like lullabies hummed with lips closed, or a spell never spoken aloud. You enter. Inside, the world bends. You do not fall, not quite. But your balance tilts. The hollowed trunk leads downward, as if the cedar grew not up from the earth, but down into it. And the floor is wet, not puddled layered thin sheets of water spread along the path, perfectly still. As you walk, each step sends slow ripples out like sleeping eyes opening beneath your feet. Candlelight reflects along the tunnel walls, though you see no candles, only shimmer. Only the way wax might remember a flame long gone. You pause. A sound, soft, rhythmic like footsteps behind you, but wrong. The timing is uneven, like one echo missing the other. You turn nothing only the tunnel, twisting, bending, back where you came. But not quite how you remember it. Your gaze returns forward, and now the air glows faintly gold. You follow the glow. It deepens, thickens. Soon the tunnel opens, just slightly, into a hollow chamber within the tree. There, in the center, rests a small wooden stool, and beside it, an old oil lantern. Its glass is cracked, its handle rusted, but the flame inside burns clean and pale, like the candle beneath the pool. Only here, it hovers just above the wick, not touching, not needing next to the stool. A trail of damp footprints leads away. Child-sized, unhurried, you crouch beside the lantern and see something tucked beneath it, a folded scrap of parchment. You lift it, unfold it. The paper is waxy, like pressed. Petals. There is no writing, only an embossed mark, a candle floating in water, encircled by what appears to be a teeth. No, not teeth. Petals, or perhaps both. You fold it again and rise. The footsteps lead deeper into the tree. You follow. Behind you, the lantern flame flutters once, as if breathing you goodbye. The tunnel narrows again. Here, the walls change. From cedar to something like glass. They shimmer. And as you pass, they reflect not your shape, not exactly, but something close. A silhouette, flickering at the edges, dripping faint light, where feet touch ground. You do not stop, even though, for one brief step. You're almost certain the reflection moved differently than you did. The tunnel turns, the scent of wax thickens, and somewhere ahead, soft and slow, a child hums. The tune is wordless. But you know it. You knew it in a dream once, just before the waking world pulled you back. You round the final curve, and there she is, a girl, maybe 7, Maybe older. It's hard to say. The hollow tends to blur such things. She sits cross-legged beside a narrow stream that flows up the wall and into the ceiling, its water never falling back down. Her eyes are closed. Her lips barely move as she hums. On her head, a crown, not of gold, of moss, thick and vibrant, still wet from the world. It grew in Dot. Around her neck hangs a tiny candlelit tied with twine. She does not look up, Dot, but she speaks. I knew you'd come, she whispers. Her voice is not shy, not afraid, but very, very old. She opens her eyes. One is green, the other reflects firelight, though none burns nearby. Here, she says, and holds out a hand. Dot in her palm. A token. Wax, shaped like a droplet, heavy for its size. You take it. It melts slightly against your skin, but does not lose shape. The girl leans forward. Ask me a question, she says, Dot, and before you can. She smiles and vanishes, like smoke pulled backward into a candle's wick. Only the moss crown remains, still damp, resting softly at your feet. The moss crown is warm, damp, but warm. You hesitate, then bend and lift it. It drips once, and then stills. You turn it over. Inside, woven into the green, a single feather, silver gray. With a tip dipped in wax. Dot, you do not put it on. Not. Yet, Dot, instead, you carry it. The path curves again, as if the tree trunk spirals deeper with each step. The air changes, thinner, cooler, touched with the soft eke of rain. But the moss underfoot remains spongy. Alive. Dot, up ahead, the light fades. Not dark, not quite. More like the moment when a dream begins to dissolve, where only the feeling stays behind. You walk on. There is a doorway, though no door. Dot, beyond it. Open sky, but the sky is wrong. A deep gray-green dome spotted with slow, luminous raindrops drifting upward. You step out. The ground feels different, now solid, flat, like stone veined with vines. You've entered a glade, circular, still. Dot, in its center, an oak stump carved with tiny alcoves. Inside each, a candle, some lit, some not, some melted into puddles of memory. Dot, rain continues to fall, not down, but up. Each drop drifts from the earth toward the heavens, slow as thought. You raise your hand. A raindrop passes your palm. Dot, it leaves no wetness, only warmth. You turn slowly in the clearing. Behind you, the doorway into the cedar remains, but it no longer leads to the tunnel you came from. Only shadow. Ahead, across the glade, a path opens between trees. Dot, and at its edge, a boat. Dot, narrow, silent, floating in a stream that wasn't there a moment ago. The water flows sideways, curling, gently like ribbon through the trees. The boat rocks once, waits. You walk to it. Its wood is dark, smooth. Pale lines of wax trace curling runes along the edge. Dot, no oars, but a lantern hangs from the bow, swaying faintly with a flame that casts no shadow. You step inside. The boat accepts you. No sound. No splash. Dot, you sit. Dot, and then it moves. Not quickly, not slowly. Exactly the right speed for drifting thoughts. The boat glides along the stream, which coils and bends through trees that breathe, Their branches don't reach. They lean, curious, as though recognizing something in you. Above, rain continues upward, gathering in thick gray clouds that do not thunder. They only watch Dot as the current carries you forward. The stream begins to rise, tilting the boat upward like a lullaby lifting toward its final note. The motion is smooth, dreamlike, and then you level out again. The boat drifts through a break in the trees into a wide pool, still as breath. There, floating at the center, a house. Not a house. Quite. More like the suggestion of one. Wood beams barely hold their shape, as though drawn from a memory. Shutters hang open, revealing candlelit windows. The glow inside pulses gently, a heartbeat in the dusk. The boat circles slowly. No tether, but it stops without touching the dock. You stand. Step onto the wood dot, it doesn't creak. You walk to the door, which is already open. The air that spills out smells of lavender and ash. Dot inside. It is warmer. A long hallway stretches ahead. The walls flicker with candlelight, but there is no flame. Only the echo of it, reflected somehow. From beneath the floor, Dot, you kneel, touch the boards. They are cool, but beneath them, you feel warmth. The light rises upward, does not illuminate, only cradles. You step inside. There, in the center of the hallway, stands a small table. And on it, a clock. Dot, no hands, but it ticks. Dot, soft. Even tick, tick, as if marking something. You cannot see. You lean closer. The ticking slows. You wait. Then, just for a moment, the sound stops. Dot, and in its place, a whisper. Too soft to hear, too soft to understand. But it pulls at something in your chest, something you carried long ago. You close your eyes, listen. Dot, the whisper fades. The ticking returns, steady, unchanged. You open your eyes. Turn your head. Dot, at the end of the hallway, a new door. This one glows faintly blue, a cold flame flickering around its edges. You walk toward it. Your shadow moves with you, but not quite as it should. Dot, it sways, as if the candle inside your chest has started to burn just a little brighter. You reach the door. Place your palm against it. Dot, it does not open. Dot, it dissolves. Beyond it, colon stairs. Dot, leading downward into water. Dot, the surface is glassy. Dot, you see yourself reflected, but the face that looks back blinks before you do. Dot, just once. You step forward. Dot, the water parts. And the flame behind you, still floating in the lantern at the boat's bow, leans forward. Watching. Dot, waiting. The water does not feel wet. You expected chill, expected weight. But stepping into it is like slipping through warm silk, slow, silent, welcoming. Dot, the stairs curve gently downward. Stone shaped not by hands, but by patience. Each step hums, faintly, a low resonance that pulses in your knees. You descend. Dot, above. The lantern's glow fades until the surface seals behind you, like a breath drawn in and never exhaled. Now only the downward path, only the rhythm of your steps, only the hush. Dot, dash, the deeper you go, the warmer the water becomes. Not hot, never that, but full, like dusk, if dusk could be touched. The light changes. To Dot, there is no source, but everything glows. Dot, soft, Blue, like moonlight filtered through memory. Dot, you look up. No sky. Only the ripple of what you've left behind. You look forward. The stairs end. Dot, and before you, a door made not of wood or stone, but woven lily stems, braided with candle wicks. You do not knock. You do not need to. Dot, the door opens. You step into the house beneath the river. Dot, it should not exist, but here it is. A cottage, gentle and round. Its walls are curved like the inside of a shell, and its windows look out into slow-moving water. Fish drift past, but they do not swim. They hover, as if caught in a dream. They do not wish to leave. Inside, the floor is velvet moss. The air tastes like lavender and river mud, and candlelight glows from the corners. Dozens of flames, all burning underwater. They do not hiss. They do not flicker. They burn like quiet memories. You move slowly through the room. The walls hold shelves, not books, but jars. Dot, inside each. A faint shimmer, not liquid, not solid. Somewhere in between. You lift one. Hold it close. Inside, a single tear, suspended in amber light. You place it back. Beside it, another jar. Inside, a folded note. You tilt it. The note unfolds itself. The writing shifts. Not words, you know, but you understand. Dot, it says, a flame is not fire. A flame is a promise that light remembers where it came from. You walk further. The next room is darker. Only one candle burns here, on a table carved from driftwood, its surface etched with spirals and feather marks. You approach. The candle's flame bends toward you, like it recognizes your shape. You sit. For a moment, everything stills. Then, from somewhere unseen, a voice begins to hum. The same tune the moss-ground girl once sang. Dot, it coils through the water. Soft, slow, a lullaby for the forgotten. You rest your hands on the table. Dot, it feels like the surface of a still lake at night. Dot, something shifts. The flame grows brighter, but only within. Its glow does not stretch, does not reach. You look down, and in the grain of the wood, you see something strange. A reflection, not yours, not now. A younger version of yourself, barefoot. Holding a candle in the rain, you blink. Dot, the image is gone. Dot, but beneath your palms, the wood is warmer. Dot, the candle whispers. Dot, just once. A single word, but not spoken aloud. Dot, it lands behind your ears, where dreams go when they dissolve. Almost you rise. The voice stops humming. The candle dims. A curtain moves at the far end of the room, though no current stirred it. You walk toward it. The moss beneath your feet leaves no trace. The curtain sways gently, not with water, but with breath. You reach out, lift it aside. Behind it, a hallway, narrow and blue, lined with more candles, each enclosed in glass, each glowing from within, but none with fire. Only memory. Dot, only warmth. Dot, only the echo of every flame you never lit, but still remember. At the end of the hall, another door. Plain, closed. Dot, you press your hand to it. Dot, and feel it pulse. Once. Then it opens. Dot, no noise. No light. Only stillness. And the faint scent of wax melting into time. Dot, you step through, and the door vanishes behind you. The room you enter feels round. You can't see the walls. The edges curve away from your eyes like a horizon wrapped too close. A dim glow rises from beneath your feet. Not light, exactly, but presence dot here. Time moves like breath held underwater. It doesn't pass. It waits. You stand very still. And then softly, something shifts in the center of the room. A shape dot small dot you approach dot. It is a child, but not the girl from before. This child is taller, older, perhaps, but thin as candle smoke. They sit cross-legged on a stone floor that reflects nothing, as though it absorbs all light and memory. Upon their head rests a simple crown, woven from strands of waxed thread, each tipped with a single tiny bud of moss dot in their hand, a candle stub. Unlit, edges cracked, burned down almost to nothing. They look up. Their face is gentle, but strange, like a dream you forgot having, but remember how it felt. Their eyes are shut, but they see you. They nod once. And speak. You carry it now. You look down. The wax. Token still rests in your hand. It has not melted further, but it pulses, faintly, like it hears the voice too. The child stands. Their feet make no sound on the stone. They move toward you. And reach out not to take, but to touch a single finger. Presses gently to the center of your forehead. And everything tilts dot dash suddenly. You are standing outside again, but not where you began. A field stretches out, silver with dew, lit from beneath by the strangest moon, not in the sky, but reflected on the ground. You turn. Behind you, the child is gone, but in their place, a mirror, not hung, not framed, simply there, in the air, floating. You look into it dot and see yourself. But not. The shape is right, but wrong in the quietest ways. Your face, but the eyes burn with soft candlelight. The veins shimmer faintly blue. Your mouth does not move, yet it speaks. A whisper, low and steady. You are not dreaming, but you are not awake. The mirror ripples. Your reflection blinks once. Then it smiles. Behind you, the field begins to change. Not fast, not loud dot, but undeniably dot the grass curls, folds, turns inward on itself, until a path opens. A slow spiral dot at its center, a well, but not made of stone. The well is shaped from branches and wax, and it breathes. You walk toward it. The earth beneath your feet pulses, soft, like a heartbeat under soil dot the closer you get. The more you hear, a hum, low, melodic dot, not a song, but the idea of one. The kind that feels familiar only at the edge of sleep. You reach the well, look, in dot inside. Water still, deep dot and floating in its center. Another candle dot like the one from the beginning, like the one beneath the pool. Only this time, there's a flame above and below the water line. Twin flickers, one real, one reflection dot, but neither moves unless you do. You crouch, lower your face to the edge. Your breath stirs the surface. The flame trembles just a little, like a held note that almost breaks. You reach in. The water parts easily, welcoming your hand. Like an old friend. You do not feel heat dot, only gravity. Softly reverse dot as your fingers close around the candle. A wave of stillness moves through your arm, through your chest, through the dark behind your eyes. You lift it. The flame does not go out, it stays. Glowing, quiet, certain. Behind you, the wind changes. You rise, the mirror is gone. But the spiral in the field has opened further, a path that leads into the trees again. You do not question it. The candle in your hand lights the way. And as you walk, the moss crown long forgotten begins to warm again in your pack, like something awakening or remembering. The forest greets you differently now. Before, it watched in stillness, curious. Now, it leans in, not threatening, just closer. The branches don't sway, but they shift slightly when you pass, as though adjusting for your presence, not to block you, to guide. The candle you carry glows gently. The flame no longer flickers. It hovers, weightless. Its light stretches no farther than your fingertips. But somehow, it is enough you step over roots that weren't there before, under boughs that feel older than names, and still the path winds ahead, as though waiting for you to notice something. And you do it starts to rain, but again, not from the sky. The first droplet rises from the ground just before your foot would have touched it. You pause. Another floats upward, slow and steady, curling softly toward the trees. Soon, hundreds follow rain. Rising each drop shimmered, not silver, but gold you raise your hand. One passes through your palm it leaves no wetness. Only a feeling, like hearing your name spoken kindly by someone you've forgotten you loved. You walk again. The candle does not dim, even as the golden rain thickens. In fact, its light pulses now, subtle, warm, as though answering a question the forest hasn't asked aloud yet. Then something shifts in the distance. A shape, faint, unmoving. You walk closer, it is a figure, taller than you, robe draped in moss and rain light. You cannot see its face, not because it's hidden, but because your eyes refuse to settle on it. The figure lifts a hand, points to your candle, then gestures. Once, upward, you follow its motion. Above you, the clouds do not gather, they part, revealing not the sky, but a ceiling. The forest has ended, or perhaps you have passed beneath it. Now, you walk beneath something older, a vault of deep indigo, painted with wax constellations. Each star flickers faintly, like tiny flames frozen in thought. You lower. Your gaze. The figure is gone. Only a trail of moss remains, spiraling ahead through the field of rising rain. You follow it. The golden droplets grow brighter as they rise, each one catching your reflection for just a breath, but never quite. The same one shows you smiling, another crying, a third eye's closed, holding the same candle you carry now, but wearing clothes you've never seen. And then a fourth you but older, alone, standing in a hallway of glass. Mouth open, not in speech. In song, you blink, the image fades, but the note it left behind hums gently in your chest. The moss path leads to a clearing. In its center, a river, not wide, but endless. Its waters don't flow. They turn, gently, in a perfect loop. And there, floating at its edge, a boat. You know this boat dot, it is the same dot yet not. The lantern at its bow is missing. But in its place, a mirror, oval, silver, tied in place with braided reeds and waxed thread. You step into the boat dot, sit dot, the candle remains steady in your hand. The boat begins to move. The current doesn't pull, it invites. The boat follows the looping river, each turn slow and deliberate. The trees lean closer, each trunk etched with spirals, each branch tipped with droplets that don't fall. You glance toward the mirror at the bow. Your reflection is clear, but backward, not left to right. Inside dash out dot you see yourself, but feel as though you're seeing who the candle sees. A version of you shaped by softness dot, by choosing stillness over noise. Silence over answers. Wonder over knowing. You, blink dot, the reflection holds your gaze and nods dot just once. Then the boat stops. Ahead, a small shore, covered in wax-dappled leaves, golden with the glow of rising rain. Dot you step out. A trail winds into darkness, not threatening, just waiting. And in your hand, the candle flickers, not dimming, but shifting hue, a pale blue now. At the edges, like memory melting into dream dot, you follow the path as the rain continues to fall upward. The path narrows as the forest returns, but it's not the same forest. The trees are taller now, too tall. Their trunks stretch endlessly into dark above, never quite touching a sky. Their bark shines faintly, like it's been polished by years. Of whispered touch dot, no leaves fall. No birds call, only the sound of the upward rain and the soft hush of your footsteps on a ground made of waxed petals and old parchment. You carry the candle before you. The flame has shifted again, now tinged with lavender at its core. It moves as though remembering a wind you can't feel. Ahead, something glows dot, a figure. No dot, a house dot, drifting dot, dash, not on the ground, floating above it. Maybe 2 feet up, perfectly still. You walk closer. The house is small, simple. Its walls are paneled with driftwood, its windows shuttered with what look like pages from a dream. There are no stairs, no ladder dot, but as you step forward, the earth lifts to meet you. Not all of it, just beneath your feet. A soft rise. You are offered, gently, to the door, and it opens before you can knock. Inside, dim light, soft gold spills across the floor. The walls pulse gently, like breath passing through thin lungs. The air smells of wax, but sweeter now. Like honey over ash dot, you step through the doorway, and the house exhales. Not sound, not air dot, memory dot, you feel it behind your ribs. A warmth that tightens and loosens, like an old song returning to the body. Before the mind can catch it dot, you move forward. A single room dot round. Its center holds a small pedestal, and upon it, a glass dome dot inside the dome. A candle, the same shape, the same glow, but this one burns from the inside. The flame is not on top. It is deep within the wax, glowing through it, like an ember trapped in snow. You draw closer, and the flame within flickers, not in response to you, but to something. Behind you, you turn. There is someone there. Not the moss-ground girl, not the wax-thread child. This figure is older, taller than the others. their face hidden beneath a veil of threads, their robe sewn from pressed flowers, each petal stained with soot at its edges. They say nothing, but in their hands, a mirror, oval, old. The glass inside is broken, not shattered, not cracked, dash like ice. That never fully melted. They hold it out to you. You don't reach for it. You only look. And in the fragments, you see not yourself, but pieces. A hand you remember from childhood. Eyes you haven't had in years. A scar that never truly healed Dot. And in the center, reflected in the deepest shard, the underwater candle. Still burning. Still waiting. The figure speaks, but not aloud. Their voice arrives in your thoughts like breath-fogging glass. Some flames do not consume. They remind. You look down at your candle. Dot, the flame within has stilled. Not out, Dot, just calm, Dot, as if listening. The figure lifts the mirror again. One of the shards falls. You catch it, Dot, cool. Light, a perfect triangle of time you'd forgotten. You place it gently into the folds of your shirt, and when you look up, the figure is gone, but the mirror remains. Dot, hanging midair. Dot, waiting. Dot, dash, you walk past it. Toward the dome. Dot, place your candle beside it. The two flames lean toward each other, like they recognize something shared. You step back. Dot, let them be. The house begins to drift again, not forward, not up, Dot, but inward. And you understand, without knowing how, you are still welcome. But you are no longer needed here. The doorway opens. Outside, the forest is gone. Dot, in its place, a hall of stone arches, lit only by underwater candles, each flickering in time with your breath. You take one last look at the drifting house, its glow fading into a soft hum, and step through the archway toward whatever waits next. The stone arches rise like bones from the earth, pale gray, almost translucent, each carved with the same spiral symbol, a candle burning underwater, encircled by what might be petals or teeth. Or something older still. You pass beneath the first arch. The air cools. Dot, it's not unpleasant. It feels like being remembered by something ancient, not watched, just known. The path curves downward again, always downward, and though you walk with care, you realize your steps make no sound now. Even your breath, steady, slow, is absorbed by the hush around you. It is not silence. It is stillness. You reach the second arch. A faint shimmer appears beyond it, like moonlight on black water. But there's no water. Only floor. Dot, only that same glass-smooth stone, veined faintly with golden patterns that shift if you look too long. Beneath this arch, something stirs. Not seen. Dot, felt. Dot, a hum. Dot, familiar. The same hum from the river house. The same hum from the moss-ground girl's lullaby. The same hum that moved your chest before your mind could name it. You pause. The arch breathes once, a gentle exhale of air warmed by candle smoke. Dot, you continue. At the third arch, the path splits. Left, a corridor choked with roots, thick, damp, alive, each one pulsing faintly, as though drawing breath from the stone itself. Right, a hallway of mirrors. Dot, each mirror fogged, but not with dust. With dreams. Dot, you can see them move, scenes behind the glass, drifting like ink in water. A child's hand releasing a kite, an empty plate spinning on a wooden floor. A door closing, with no one behind it. You choose the right, the mirror hallway. Not because it feels safe, but because it feels honest. You walk slowly. Each step reveals another dream you don't quite remember dreaming. Some feel like yours, some don't. Single quotes. One mirror shows you asleep in a field, your candle resting on your chest, flame steady as your breath. Another shows you older, much older, hair silver, eyes calm, whispering a story to someone you cannot see, but they listen, like you're listening now. Halfway through the hall, you see a mirror that is not FOGGD. Its surface is clean. Still, you approach and see yourself. Only this time, you know it's you. Not as you are now. As you were. Before the hollow. Before the candle. Before the boat. The you who forgot things. Who rushed. Who feared silence. This reflection looks at you with softness, forgiveness, not for anything done, but for everything you and LIVD. The mirror fogs. Then clears. The reflection is gone. Only you remain. The hallway ends. Before you, a room. Round. Empty. No. Light, but you enter anyway. As your feet touch the center of the space. The air changes. The hum returns. And in the middle of the room, suspended above the floor by nothing, a clock. No hands. No numbers. But it ticks. Soft, steady. Tick. TICK. The sound is not mechanical. It is alive. A heartbeat, not yours, but connected. You close your eyes. And with the next tick, you remember something. Not a fact, not a date, a feeling. You were once here before. Not in body. In thought. Maybe as a child, maybe in a dream you thought was just a dream. But the hollow remembers. And now so do you. The candles. The flame beneath the water, the hum behind the lullaby. They've always been waiting. Not for you to find them, for you to slow down enough to notice. The clock ticks once more, and a doorway appears. Framed in moss, lit by a single underwater candle. It's flame blue-white still. You step through. And find yourself outside again. Not forest. Not stone. Just mist. Just quiet. Just the faintest sound of oars approaching. The mist thickens as you step forward. Not cold, but cool enough to pull your thoughts inward, to slow your breath, to hush the edges of your mind. You pause at the edge of the nothing. The doorway behind you dissolves. Its outline lingers only, as a scent, wet stone, lavender ash, and something like hope, left out in the rain. And then a sound. Oars. Wood in water. But no splashing. Just the soft pull. A rhythm older than footsteps, older than breath. The mist parts. A boat. You know it. Not by sight. By feel. It's the same. And not the same. Each plank bears familiar runes. Each line of wax burned into memory. But something in the shape has changed. Wider. Perhaps. Or simply more welcoming. You step in. The boat does not rock. It accepts you. The oars move. On their own. You sit. Hold the candle. Its flame, which had glowed blue-white before, now burns steady gold again. A gold like deep sleep. A gold like stories passed between closed eyes. The boat moves through the mist. There is no shore on either side. No water beneath. But it moves. And as it moves, you see the house again. not a dream, not a memory. The house beneath the water. It stands just ahead, visible below the boat's path as though you're gliding over a glass floor. It hasn't changed. The lily-woven doorway, the shelves of jars, the driftwood table with spiral carvings. But now there's a glow from within, a brighter one. You look closer. Inside, the candles still burn. But one has been added. Yours. The candle you carried. There, beside the one with a flame deep inside. Your candle now flickers with the same ember heart. You didn't leave it, but it's there, still lit. Still burning, still you. The boat drifts. On, the mist thickens, then parts once more. Another house. Not underwater. Not floating. This one rests in the curve of a hill, partially swallowed by earth and time. You do not approach it. You only see it from the boat, as though it's showing itself, but not inviting. Its windows glow. Shapes move inside. One of them wears your crown, not on their head, but in their hands, braiding it, and doing it. Braiding it again. They glance toward you. Do not smile. Do not frown. Only nod once. As if to say, you'll know when to return. The boat turns gently, curving through a new stream lined with pale lanterns, each suspended in the air by strands of cobweb and song. Some are lit, some wait. All of them pulse faintly as you pass. Like hearts that never forgot how to listen. The mist opens again, and you see it. A door, floating on nothing. Wooden, worn, but hold. Your boat stops before it. The oars tuck themselves in. You rise. Step forward. The candle in your hand flares gently once, not bright, just certain. You touch the door. It opens. Inside, the room of forgotten. Fires. You remember it now. Though you've never been here, you will be. You were. Candles line every surface. None of them cast shadows. They glow inward, toward themselves, toward memory, toward meaning. You walk the room. Past each flame. One whispers, Tuesday. Another, first. Rain. A third, your name, but not how you speak it. How it feels when someone says it softly as you fall asleep. You reach the center of the room. A mirror waits. This one clear, still. You look into it. And this time, you see nothing. Not your reflection. Not memory. Just flame. Not burning you. Becoming you. You close your eyes. Breathe. The hum returns. From far and from within. And when you open your eyes again, you're no longer in the room. You are beneath the water. Floating. And a candle burns just in front of you. You and moving. Perfect. You do not reach for it. You only watch it glow beneath the surface. Yet untouched. You do not sink. You do not rise. You simply float. The water holds you not as a weight, but as a memory that refuses to fade. The candle remains before you, its flame burning steady under the surface. Defying logic, but perfectly calm, you watch it, and the more you watch, the less you remember what it felt like to doubt. This place, this moment, asks nothing from you, only that you be. The water around you begins to stir. Not with current, with presence. Faint shapes move beyond the edges of your vision. Not fish, Not creatures dot moments dot hand reaching for another. A child closing their eyes in a thunderstorm. Someone lighting a candle in the middle of a silent room. They drift past, unseen except in the way they make you feel. Like something old and soft inside your ribs has started breathing again. You drift deeper, but the surface is still above. You can see it, and somehow you are moving toward it without rising. The candle guides you dot it doesn't pull. It doesn't lead dot it simply stays ahead, flame bending ever so slightly. As the whispering, this way. You follow. The water begins to grow lighter, paler, almost golden. You pass another shape, a doorway made of sea glass and bone. It stands open, but your candle flickers once, and you pass it by. Not your door dot not yet. You pass a tree dot floating dot its roots curl around nothing. Its branches hold no leaves, but from each one dangles a tiny candle, some lit, some melted, some still forming. One of them is shaped like your hand, another like a feather, a third like silence itself. They don't call to you. They just are, and you let them be. At last, the candle in front of you stops. The water around it pulses, not glowing, but awakening. You are standing now, not floating. The candle rests on a pedestal of coral and wax, twisting together in impossible spirals. You reach out, but not to take it dot to match it. You lift your own candle, still burning, and the flames lean toward one another until they touch. They do not merge. They harmonize. A soft sound rings through the water clear, low, like the final bell before night begins. The candle before you vanishes. Yours remains. But it is changed dot. It no longer burns gold dot. It burns a pale rose with a center of quiet silver. The kind of flame that doesn't light a room, but warms the space just behind your ribs. You turn dot, and now a path forms. Pebbles beneath your feet, smooth. Polished by thought dot you walk. The water parts gently before you, as if it respects what you've become. At the end of the path, another room dot round. Simple, familiar. You've never seen it before, but it's yours. A window of woven reeds, a chair of driftwood, a small table with nothing on it but a bowl of wax shavings and a feather pen that hasn't yet written anything. You step inside dot place the candle on the table. Its light spills across the room, not outward, but through everything dot it reveals. Things you hadn't noticed, a shelf of memories not yet lived, a map drawn in the margins of a forgotten story, a note in your own handwriting that reads, "You were always meant to return here." You sit. The chair does not creak. The walls do not close. You are not asked to leave, nor to stay, only to rest. Outside the window, the water stirs again, and above it, a single line of light curves downward, soft as breath. Not the sun, not the moon, only the idea of dawn, but underwater. And very, very quiet. You close your eyes. The candle burns. You are not asleep. You are not awake. You are something else. Something slower. Something still. You are still. but not alone. There's a warmth here that stretches beyond the flame, a presence without shape, without voice, but unmistakably near. It settles beside you. Like an old friend who doesn't need to speak to be known. You sit together, in silence, watching the candle glow across the table. And for a while, that is enough. Then a faint sound, like a breath held too long, finally released. It comes not from the room, but from the candle itself. You listen. The flame begins to flicker. Not wildly, deliberately, as if it's saying something, or remembering. You rise. Slowly. Step closer. The wax has melted slightly, not dripping, but shaping itself. It curls into patterns, small ridges, like fingerprints pressed gently into soft clay. You reach toward it, not to touch, just to witness. And in that moment, you see it, reflected in the glass of the window, a second flame. Behind you, you turn. There is no one, only the shadow of someone who once stood where you now stand. Their outline glows faintly in the air, made of smoke. And memory. They do not move. They do not speak, but they shimmer, like the space between one thought and the next. And in their center, just where the heart might rest, burns a tiny light, like a candle, like yours, but older, dimmer, but still burning. You nod. The shadow nods back, then begins to dissolve, drawn upward in strands like breath lifting from warm tea. You don't try to hold on. You don't need to. It was never meant to stay. Just meant to remind you that you were not the first to find this place, and you will not be the last. The window pulses gently. You walk to it. Outside. The underwater world glows faintly, the rising rain returning, curling upward in long, slow arcs. Each droplet reflects a tiny flame. Some gold, some blue, some silver, some dark, but not extinguished. Simply resting. You watch them climb. Some burst quietly into sparks. Others vanish into the ceiling of water above. But a few remain, hovering near the window, as if waiting for you to notice. You open the window. There is no resistance. The water does not flood in. It waits. You extend your hand. One of the droplets lands in your palm. It is warm. It hums. You close your hand gently. And when you open it again, the droplet has become wax. Shaped into a tiny spiral. Just like the symbol carved around the candle in the stone basin where this all began. You smile, just a little, and slide it into your pocket. You turn back toward the room, but it is no longer a room. It is a hallway now, made of branches and smoke. Suspended in still water that no longer feels like water at all. At the end of the hallway, a door, not carved, not built. Drawn. Outlined in wax and lit by flame that burns from memory. You walk toward it. Each step presses gently into the floor and leaves no mark, only warmth. You reach the door. Raise your hand. And before you can knock, its sighs open, like it's been waiting, just for you. Beyond it, a clearing. You know this place. The hollow, but changed, quieter, older, closer. The candle still burns beneath the water, right where you left it. Right where it always was. And now, its flame flickers. Once as if in greeting, Dot as if saying, you brought the light back with you, and it will stay. You step into the clearing, and the mist curls away from your feet, slow and careful, like it remembers you. The stone basin is ahead, half sunken into moss and silence, and there, beneath the still surface, the candle still burns, unchanged, unbothered. Its flame sways once as you near, not from wind, but recognition. You approach slowly. Everything feels lighter now. Not because you've left weight behind, but because something else carries it with you. You kneel by the water's edge. The basin is exactly as it was, but different in the quietest ways. The moss is greener, the glow is warmer, and carved around the rim. Where once the stone was smooth, you now see spirals dot tiny ones. A ring of them, each unique, each marking a moment, each a story. Some are familiar. You trace one with your finger, it warms beneath your touch. You smile, not because you understand, but because you don't need to. The water shifts, not in waves. In rhythm, it breathes again. That same slow inhale, that same long, patient exhale. You match its rhythm, not consciously, just naturally. Like something you always knew but had forgotten until just now. And as your breath aligns with the hollow, you see it a shape rising from the water. Not fast, not sudden. A lantern, its glass fogged with sleep, its frame etched with wax runes. Inside, a candle waits you an lit yet glowing. You reach out, lift it gently the lantern feels old not fragile, not delicate trusted it fits your hand like it was carved from your shadow. And as you lift it, your own candle flares gently in your other hand, then dims. The two flames do not compete. They acknowledge you bring them close. Let them see each other. And the moment the two glows meet, the lantern's candle lights not with fire, but with memory. A soft violet hue spilling gently into the world around you. Everything slows. You feel it in your ribs, in your chest, behind your eyes. Time softens, not stopping, just resting. And the forest around you exhales. Birds do not sing, but you sense them watching, perched in unseen branches. Heads tilted in quiet approval, the mist parts further, revealing a path, the same one you walked long ago, or maybe not long ago at all, maybe only moments, or maybe always. You stand, the lantern glows beside you. The candle still burns within it, not loud, not proud, just certain. You begin to walk. Each step forward is soft, familiar, and the path does not rise to meet you. It follows. It lays itself down beneath your feet, knowing exactly where to go. You pass through trees, the ones that leaned before. They bow now, subtle, barely, but enough to let you know you're no longer a visitor here. You are part of the story, somewhere far ahead. You hear it a bell, one note low and round it doesn't. Call you forward it reminds you you're already going. The candle flame inside your lantern shivers with the sound, but doesn't waver. The golden light it casts isn't for the forest it's for you to remind you where you've been and how to return if you ever forget. You reach a clearing you've never seen, but recognize immediately in the center. A stone chair dot empty dot waiting dot beside it. A book dot closed dot you walk to it dot sit dot open the cover. There are no words inside, only a single spiral etched into the first page. Your candle brightens dot the spiral glows. And the book writes itself slowly, gently, with each breath you take. You do not read it. You live it dot line by line dot flame by flame. Until the page turns itself, and the candle flickers just once to say, there is more to come. You close the book dot it doesn't click shut. It doesn't vanish dot it simply waits. Like a question you're not meant to answer, only carry. The stone chair beneath you is warm. The moss that lines its curves cradles your form, as though it's shaped itself around your presence, not today, but over years of quiet knowing. The candle in the lantern beside you flickers. The light it casts now pulses in a soft pattern, not random, a rhythm, like breath, like waves brushing a forgotten shore, like sleep, arriving slowly. You rise. The forest around you watches, but does not speak. You pick up the lantern. It's lighter now, not because the candle has burned down, but because the burden you didn't realize you carried has already begun to melt. A breeze slips between the trees, dotted brushes your cheek, carries the scent of wax and river stone, and beneath it, a note of smoke, not fire, just the memory of fire, the kind that never burned but still warmed the bones. Ahead, the path has changed again, dot it's narrower, more overgrown. The leaves here are veined with gold, not bright. Not flashy dot just enough to shimmer when the candlelight touches them. You walk carefully dot each step feels deliberate, like the forest is remembering your footsteps even before you take them. And then a sound dot soft dot familiar dot a voice. It hums from ahead, a song without words. The same one the moss-ground girl whispered long ago. You follow it dot not because it calls you, but because it belongs to something you've missed without knowing. The path widens again, revealing a clearing dot in its center, a stone pool dot, not the basin. This one is deeper dot still dot, and in its center, a figure. It is her dot the girl, but changed, taller, older, yet still wearing moss dot still crowned with silence and soft power. She does not turn to you. She stares into the water. At something deep within it. You step closer. She speaks. Her voice, like velvet folded in dusk. I told you it would stay lit. You say nothing, but she hears you. She lifts her hand. In her palm, a match dot you an STRUCK dot unused dot, and yet it glows faintly, as if it's remembering the flame it could become. She closes her fingers around it dot turns dot looks at you fully. One eye still green, the other now flickering faint blue. I've kept your place, she says. And you've kept your flame, she holds out her hand. You take it. Together, you kneel at the pool's edge. You look into the water dot. There are many candles dot dozens dot hundreds. Some burn fiercely. Some barely glow. Some drift in circles. Some sit quietly at the bottom, waiting. You see your own among them. Still lit dot, still steady dot. But now, it's no longer lone. Another flame floats beside it. Not hers, not yours dot just new. And it's enough. She releases your hand. You've walked. The hollow, she says, but it will walk with you now. You nod dot the words are not a farewell. They are an opening. She steps into the water dot the surface doesn't ripple. She lowers herself slowly, becoming reflection, then shadow, then light. Beneath the surface, you remain kneeling, your lantern warm in your hands, and for a moment, you simply breathe. Not because you must, because you can. Behind you, the forest begins to shift, not leaving dot changing dot it grows quieter, darker, but not in fear dot in rest. The same kind of dark that lives behind your eyelids just before sleep claims. You rise dot the match is still in your pocket, unstruck, but now unnecessary dot the flame inside you is enough. The hollow has nothing more to give you, not because it's empty, because you're full and ready. You walk alone now, not lonely dot just alone. The forest no longer leans in. It stands still, as though letting you pass freely, as though it has finished its part in your story. You carry the lantern before you. Its light is soft, steady dot it no longer needs to show the way. It only reminds you that there is one dot each step forward feels like returning. But not to where you started dot to who you've always been, beneath the noise, beneath the forgetting dot, and somewhere inside you feel it. The hollow remembers you. The tree's thin. The sky above, if it can be called sky, glows the color of memory. Faint, rose, gentle ash, a soft shimmer like candlelight on glass dot the ground grows firmer. The moss recedes. You pass under a low branch, and just beyond it, a doorway dot wooden dot rounded dot its surface carved with hundreds of tiny spirals, no to the same. You reach for the handle, but the door opens before you touch it. Inside, a room, yours. You've never seen it before, and yet everything in it belongs to you. The chair by the window, the shelf of books you haven't written yet, the bowl of feathers, the robe, folded neatly, lined with soft wax at the collar. You step inside. The candle in your lantern flares once, bright, but not loud, and then settles. You place it on. The WINDOWSILL dot its glow spills onto the page of an open journal. You glance down. A single sentence written there. You carry the light well. You smile dot sit dot the chair fits you. Not because it was shaped for you, but because you shaped into it. The window opens of its own accord. Outside, the world is still. The trees sway gently in a wind you cannot hear. The mist lifts slowly, revealing a sky dappled with drifting lights, not stars, candles, some close, some impossibly far, each one a story still burning. You rest your hand on the journal, not to write dot to feel the pulse of the page, and beneath it your own. A sound stirs behind you, not threatening, not startling, just present. You turn. A figure stands in the doorway, cloaked in deep moss, face unseen, but you know them, not from this walk, from another, one you haven't taken yet. They say nothing, only raise their lantern. Its flame flickers silver, then blue, then gold dotted matches yours. Perfectly dot, and then they leave. You don't follow. There is no need. They are walking. Their own spiral now dot just as you did. You return to the window. Look out. A single droplet of rain, golden, drifts upward across your view. It pauses at the edge of the frame, quivers once, then continues its rise. You follow it with your eyes. And as it vanishes into the high hush of sky, you exhale. Long. Still. The candle beside you flickers. You lower your gaze, and there it is, not flame now, but glow. A warmth that no longer needs fire, just breath. You close your eyes, feel the room around you dim, not darken, just soften. You reach into your pocket. The match remains. UNSTRUCK. But warm. You leave it there for someone else. Someday. Some spiral yet to turn. You breathe. The hollow breathes with you. You don't hear it. You feel it. In the way. The chair cradles your back. In the way the window doesn't close. In the way your name feels different now when you think it. Less sharp. More true. And the candle, it burns still. But not just in the lantern. Beneath your ribs. Behind your eyes. In the quietest part of you. Waiting. Glowing. Home. The room fades, not into darkness, but into hush. The candle's light no longer casts shadows. It simply exists, a quiet presence, like the beat of a heart resting after a long, slow song. You sit still. No longer waiting, no longer searching, only being outside the window. The sky is no longer a sky. It is a sea of glow. Tiny flames rising upward. Some dim, some dancing, some still, but all burning. All part of something larger. You stand. The chair gives no protest. The floor beneath. You feel soft, like breath warmed into form. You lift the lantern once more, but not for guidance, only to acknowledge its place beside you. You walk to the door. It's open now. You don't remember it opening, but it is. The path outside is not the same one you walked before. It winds inward now, toward something not smaller, but deeper. You step through. The wind is softer than skin. The trees no longer tower. They bow. The moss is silver. The air hums with the quiet of things finally put to rest. You breathe in, and then out. Long, slow, complete. Ahead, the stone basin waits again. But this time, the candle beneath the water is joined by another. Yours. It burns quietly just beside the first. The two flames do not compete. They sway, in rhythm, in rest. You kneel. One last time. Not to remember. Not to ask. Only to witness. And as you do, the water exhales. The moss leans in. The hollow closes its eyes. And so do you. The tale has ended. Now sleep, if you can. Let the stillness settle. Let your body soften. Slowly, deeply. You've walked the spiral, not to escape, but to return. To that part of you that remembers stillness. That carries the light even when it forgets it's burning. The hollow does not close behind you. It waits. For another step. Another breath. Another drift into quiet. Feel the weight in your shoulders slip down. Feel the candle's warmth behind your ribs. A gentle ember. Steady. Slow. True. No noise now. Only the low hush of the leaves. The glow beneath the surface. The quiet presence of memory. Not pulling. Not pushing. Just resting beside. You. You are no longer the one who arrived. You are the one who listens. Who carries light? Who knows how to return? When called, let your hands be still. Let your mind float. You are safe. You are home. You are nothing more and nothing less than a candle that burns, even underwater. Close your eyes now. Breathe once more and drift into the hush beyond the hollow.